Aloha, Nina Hasler is here today. How are you doing today, Nina?
I am doing very well, thank you.
Now
Everything is good.
You're in your office in Kona because you are a very high profile. Uh, what's your title as your job?
I'm licensed by the IRS as an enrolled agent here on the island since 2008.
Oh, and you're probably one of the few people that has that status, I would guess.
You don't have that many, you don't have that many tax accountants here that really digs deep into the tax code. So that's true. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me since a lot of you do not know.
Who is Nina?
All right, my name is Nina Hasler. I've lived here on the island for almost 14 years. It has been the only place in the US I have ever lived, which is very interesting. So I'm born and raised in Denmark, but I do not like being cold. So I moved to France and I lived in France for 10 years. So yes, I speak French as well.
Oh, qu'est-ce que c'est?
And then the problem with France, even though it was beautiful near the Atlantic coast that I lived, beautiful, beautiful area, it still gets too hot during the summer months and too cold during the winter. So Hawaii is perfect. I like it.
So why did you move here?
I had a friend in Hilo. I was in France, right? So I had a friend in Hilo contact me who wanted to publish a book. And he asked me for help to publish the book. And I'm very pragmatic and very logical in my thinking. So I'm very good at certain things, like being a tax accountant. And dealing with facts, like dealing with publishers and not thinking about how good the book is, but how well it's going to sell is one of my strengths. So I came, so my friend lived in Hilo. So again, I was sitting in France, close to Bordeaux, with the good wine, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a map thinking, where the heck is Hilo? And then it's like, okay, Hawaii. Okay, where is Hawaii? I mean, what do I know? I never, and I'm like, Hawaii, okay, it's that far away from the US. And remember, we grow up, well, you don't know, we grew up in Europe with the US being a certain way. And that certain way is from us watching Dollars and Dynasty and all those stupid American series. And what's the name of the guy who speaks with his car? Knight Rider, right? So for us, that's all American. Yeah, that's American.
David Hasselhoff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see American tourists coming, and they're always like loud. So for us, that's how the US is. So me, Hawaii, I had no idea. But my friend needed help, and I'm like, okay, I'm due for a vacation. So I came here almost 14 years ago, and I landed in Hilo. And you know how Hilo is. It is with the humidity and cookies. Humidity and cookies, and it hits you like a sledgehammer. And that's how I encountered Hawaii. And then
that's funny because back, I guess it was about 14 years ago that the Kokies started to become more prevalent.
Yeah, no, it was there. And, you know, and I was so lucky because I lived in Ha'awilumauka, and every single day, like at 5 or 6 p.m., I would see this little guy walk up the road. Little old guy, Filipino guy, not Filipino, Portuguese, sorry.
Portuguese.
And he would walk up the road. And I was like looking at that guy, and I would go running. I've always been a runner. But I was like, I wonder if he would like company. And he did like company. And so every single day I would walk 5 miles with Anthony Deleuze, one of the original Deleuze.
One of the Deleuze's, yeah.
Yeah. He was about your age, about in the 70, whatever, 75 or whatever he was. And so it would take us like 1.5 hours to walk those 5 miles. And during the time, he would talk and talk and talk and tell me everything about Hawaiian culture, about the sugar plantations, about the farming, about the cattle, and he would just talk. And I would suck it all in. I was like, this is so amazing. And wow. If you know Willow-Mauka, it's absolutely gorgeous up there. I mean, the views and everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, this island is just taking me over.
Yeah. No. Well, to go back a little bit, so you were born and raised in Denmark?
Yes.
What town?
Silkeborg.
Okay.
Oh, you asked.
Well, is it a town or is it a city?
It is close to a river. It's a very, very beautiful part of Denmark. If you look at the part of Denmark that's attached to Germany, so Denmark is on top of Germany, right? So, and it's like in the middle, and we have lots of forests, and we have beautiful, beautiful river. And it was in that area that some of you know Hans Christian Andersen wrote a lot of his fairy tales, because it's such a beautiful nature.
So does the river freeze over in the wintertime?
Some parts, yeah, some parts.
Yeah.
Only the still parts, yeah. But it's gorgeous. I mean, it's very beautiful, but it gets cold. It gets cold during winter.
So when you were growing up, what sort of recreational activities were in town? Were you guys skating, skiing, running?
Okay, so the Danes are very physically active. We rarely sit down a lot, and we always walk around. We do a lot of physical activity. My dad did marathons when I grew up. So I would go to races and hold the signs and bottles. I mean, all those things I would do. And a lot of, and we bike everywhere. Of course, we bike everywhere. We don't have mountains. Denmark do not have any mountains, but we surely got hills, like a lot of them.
So what was the first marathon that you did? Did you do it with your dad?
No, I didn't. And I never thought that I was ever gonna run a marathon. But I would always run like 3-5 miles. That would be enough. You know, you go out and you run, and that's fine. No, but my problem is I get restless, and then I get impatient, and then I make bad decisions. So
sounds like a potential ultra runner.
So one year I'm in that situation again, and I'm feeling restless, and I was not going to do the same thing as I did the last time when I felt restless when I bought a nightclub. I don't know if I told you that. I owned a nightclub in Kona.
Wow.
A big one. That's a whole different story. So I was not going to do that again. So I was wondering, okay, what can I do this time that is a little bit smarter and not gonna, cost as much money and heartache and whatnot. And that year, a friend of mine in January, she's like, oh, Nina, let's sign up for Honolulu Marathon. It's $26.2. That was the last year, by the way, of that.
Yeah.
$26.2. And I'm like, are you completely out of your mind? It's too freaking hot here to run a marathon. But she's like, okay, come on, do it. Okay, fine. So I signed up, and that was in January. And I started to run more. I remember my first 10 mile. I'm like, holy moly, I ran 10 miles.
And you're running in Hilo, right?
No, not in Hilo.
Oh, so you were in Denmark then?
No, here.
Oh, in Kona.
Yeah, in Kona.
Oh, okay.
In Kona. No, I started my first marathon was like 6 years ago.
Oh, that's all. Oh, wow. I would have thought. Wait, did you have any brothers and sisters? Or do you have any brothers
I have a big brother who is a psychologist. Yes.
Oh, but he never did. Well, I mean, he was active, but he never ran marathons and stuff like that.
I think he ran. He has run a couple of marathons too. Yeah, but he has never been here.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Well, I have relatives like that too, where I don't want them to come here, but that's okay. I'm just teasing.
He can come. He's welcome, but it's a long way.
So you're going to do Honolulu. So you're training for Honolulu Marathon.
Yeah, but the problem was, knowing me, that was in January and the marathon was in December. And for me, that's too long. So I had to do something. So I ended up signing up for 4 marathons before I had done 10 miles. So I ended up signing up for Kona Marathon, which was the first year it had moved.
Oh, to Waikoloa.
It was horrible. It went past the Kimono points. It was absolutely horrible. I've done it like 3-4 times now. It's so horrible. Don't do Kona Marathon.
Sorry, Brent. Sorry, Brent Inneman, friend of ours. Hi, Brent. Sorry about that, but it's a brutal course.
It's actually way better now than 6 years ago. It's better now. I gotta say, it's better now. Anyway, so I ended up signing up for Kona Marathon. Then I had Maui in September, right? That was September. So I had to choose between Maui and Kauai. And then I did Kona, Maui, and then Honolulu, and then I finished off with Hilo. So I did 4 marathons in 12 months. And then I'm like, what's next?
Were we at Maui together? I can't remember, to be honest.
What?
I was doing Maui when you were doing it.
Oh yeah. You've done all the marathons.
That's right. We went to
everything.
We went to that little sandwich spot with you and Brooke.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No. That was the second Maui marathon because I wanted to do both.
Oh, okay.
That was the January one. I actually really like that one. I think that was the coolest thing because when you run, first of all, you run in the dark and it's nice and cool. But then in January, you had all the whales. That's a cool one. I prefer the January from the September one.
Yeah, that's Les who does that from Lake Tahoe. And it's the Maui oceanfront, Mom, which the January one is. Yeah.
But the seeing I mean, come on, running and seeing the whales jumping. What? It's a cool marathon, yeah.
So you got like 4 or 5 marathons under your belt now.
No, I have way more than that.
Well, I mean, up at that point, and then you got more restless, and so then from after that, after you did those 4 marathons in a year, then what happened?
After that, it just kept going on. I wanted to do all the marathons here on the islands. Now we got more, less.
Well, did you do Kauai?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Kauai's the hardest, I think.
With heat, Kona Marathon wins.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kona at
Waikoloa. Kauai has the hills, yeah.
Kauai has that hill from mile 18 to 21, yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to do all the marathons on the island, but then, that's why I did the bird conservation marathon as well. And then, of course, I started doing ultras.
Was the Hilo to Volcano the first ultra?
No. I'm so no, I've only done that relay. No, my first 50K or more than a marathon was North Face at the Marins in California. Beautiful race. They don't have it anymore. Even pre-COVID, they stopped it.
Oh, is it because of the, I know didn't they cancel it one year because of the forest fires?
Yeah, but something permit issue, whatever, something else. Yeah, they don't have it anymore. But that was my first, and I actually did that one with Ingrid as well, which was
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
yeah. And then I started. Then I've been doing all different marathons and races all over the world. You know, I've done some cool ultras back in Europe, some other marathons. Every time I used to travel quite a lot. Pre-COVID, I would travel quite a lot and do races. And the more I do this, the more I've become selective. It really is. It depends on the course. I'm still gonna do local races here simply because I want to support the local race directors. And then I should say probably gonna do Kona Marathon again one day. So I'm just saying, just because I don't like it.
Better you than me.
No, but I mean, I think it's really important to support the local race directors.
Oh, absolutely. I remember you didn't you do a 50K or you were doing a 50K in Denmark? Was real.
Oh yeah, I've done actually the last one I did in Denmark was a 36 miler, which was awesome. That was such a cool race. We had a huge thunderstorm while doing it with lightning and everything. It was crazy, but it was such an awesome race.
Well, describe the trail. You know, is it tree roots? Is it mud? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, all of the above. And this was near the German border. So you had, apart from the thunderstorm, it was lots of running on sand, which is not always easy. But it was. But I did another very cool race that you should do, and that was in New Zealand in December last year. And
right, yeah.
No, they call it the toughest off-road marathon in New Zealand, and it is on cliff sides and on dunes and in rivers, not cross rivers, but in rivers, and it's so beautiful.
Is it up in Taupo? Where is it?
It's on Bell's Beach. It's from Auckland, and then it's just an hour.
It's just north of Auckland, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a. I mean, that is what I do, and that is what I love. I'm not too much a fan of road running anymore. I rather just want to have fun on the trails and see things. And now the interesting thing is my pace has completely changed over the years, which means that 90% of my running is slow and I'm loving it. And which also means that when I actually push it a little bit on the road, I am way faster than before, simply because I have built this very strong aerobic base. However, now I have cut back a little bit. I'm still running like twice a day, but I've cut back because my patella tendon hurts just below my knee. So I'm trying to keep my runs short right now. I'm still getting in about 45 miles a week, but I'm doing shorter runs, and simply because of that. But it's so, I think if you want to keep running, I think it's so important to find a way to enjoy it and not just force yourself to run and force yourself to be faster and force yourself to train when you don't want to. That's not how you're going to get faster on the long run.
Yeah, I did notice that because I remember you passing me, like everybody passes me on the bird sanctuary run, that you had a real fast pace. And did you get a BQ?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those. And I can, and it's simply because I have so much strength in my legs from doing hours and hours of technical trail, and I do a lot of hill climbing. I do a lot.
Oh, what was that challenge that you had of, what was it, 1,000,000 miles or something of elevation?
No, that was Leadville. So with the COVID crap, excuse my French, they had to cancel the Leadville 100. And when I did Trans Rockies last year, the 120 miles, we stayed in Leadville for one night, and that was the week before the race, the Leadville 100, and we ran the Hope Pass and whatnot, and I was kind of looking at all that. I'm like, this is so awesome. So anyway, so this year, the Leadville race team, they decided to make a virtual challenge that it wasn't about pace or miles, but elevation. We had 9 weeks, so I did it in 55 days, but we had 9 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks, I can't even remember anymore, to climb 100,000 feet.
Oh.
So 100,000 feet of climbing. That's a lot of freaking hills.
Yeah, but 10 miles, 5 and 10 miles at a time, at a chunk too, yeah.
No, but the cool thing, me being me and me being an accountant and being so, I created a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, I would have guessed, yeah.
And I figured out I had to climb every single day, so I didn't take any breaks. It's rare that I take a full break. But so for 55 days, I had to climb between 1,500 and 3,000 feet.
That's a lot.
So every single day when I wake up, I'm like, where's the hills? Let's go to the hills again. So, but that's the reason why my patella tendon is hurting.
Well, that's my Leadville. I mean, I lived in Aspen for 25 years, the other side of Independence Pass there. So Leadville, that's my old territory. I remember everything out there back in the day. And I still remember the guy who started the Leadville race, kind of, sort of. There's some dispute about that. Kenny Clobber, he's a politician. And I can remember back in the day, I won't say anything. Let's just say I never voted for him. But I think it's a great race. I know Jimmy Rigatello has done it. He's done the mountain bike portion of it and stuff. And yeah, it was a shame they had to cancel it this year, but at least we got some virtual goals.
I mean, it was a cool virtual challenge because it was really pushing myself to the limit. I mean, I really pushed myself in this one. And then we are getting a cool belt buckle.
And then the Trans Rockies, you did that with Grant and Janet, didn't you?
Yeah, no, the Trans Rockies, I had some friends doing it, including another friend that moved from the island a couple of years ago. He did it the year before Grant. And it was probably, I can't remember if it was Strava or Facebook, whatever, but I see the course, right? So you can see it and you see pictures and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. And I was thinking, okay, I can in 6 days, I can get so much running in and see so many beautiful mountains and so many beautiful places. I love Colorado. I mean, it's such a, Joe has a family in Colorado, so I've been there and I've done some other races in Colorado, but never this big, right? And I was like, okay, this is so awesome. In 6 days, I have the opportunity of experiencing and seeing things that I haven't before seen in Colorado. So that was such a cool experience. Yeah, 20,000 feet of climbing, 120 miles over 6 days. However, the camping, and it's a gigantic party every night.
I know wasn't there an aid station that had this?
Oh yeah, there's free beer and it's a party. And people were so relaxed and they were having so much fun, and you don't sleep much, but it was so interesting. And then me personally, what I saw is that over the days, I actually got faster and faster. So that was interesting. So the first day, I'm like, oh my God, I got altitude. It's all at 10,000 feet, right? 10,011.
Yeah.
So I'm my altitude and going up a hill, telling yourself, please don't throw up. Altitude, and second day Hope passed, I was so tired, and then suddenly there was a change, and then it's very interesting because I'm just following my own pace, and I could see that suddenly I got faster and faster than anybody else. And the last day we had about 5,000 feet of climbing. It was one of the biggest climbing days, and I had a blast. I had a blast. It was the funnest stage. So it's interesting to see how fast I recover in between the long runs. So those stage races I like. It's fun.
Yeah, living at altitude, I talked to a lot of cardiologists who would come to the Aspen Club, and they generally thought that for most people it would take 6 weeks for your white corpuscles and red corpuscles to even out at altitude. And I watched so many people, they would come up to altitude, they would have one beer and be passed out because they're just not acclimatized yet and everything. So the fact that you could do it like within a week shows that you got a really good core.
You know what really matters? Hydration, pure water and electrolytes. If you can keep up with that. Yeah, but if you can keep up with that in altitude, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, especially I've noticed too, when it's colder, people tend not to hydrate because they're not thirsty per se, but that's one thing that's kind of a learned ultra distance thing that you really do need to learn. Even if it's cold and rainy, you still have to hydrate.
Yep, I agree. And Trans Rockies was supposed to be a big training run for me for Mauna to Mauna, right?
Yeah. Mauna to Mauna has only been run here once before. That was in 2017. Yeah. And our good friend Sylvia actually won.
She won.
Yeah.
And I have to now, for the third year, I have to start heavy backpack training again. So I have to start that because I like to start it slowly. I have to start with 10 pounds and then build it up to 20 pounds and just get the miles in. So for the third year, let's see if we can make it happen for 21.
Yeah, I know. Who is it else that Ian Sharman does a lot of backpack running, weighted backpack running and stuff. And there's a couple other, I don't know if Golden Harper, he's one of the guys that started Ultra shoes and stuff. I think Golden every once in a while does it too, but it is kind of it's a theory in training to,
it's a challenge. So when you wear that heavy pack, one thing is your back and your knees and your feet will feel it. But there's another thing that people don't think about, and that is when you have all the weight on your shoulder, your normal running position, you lean forward a little bit, so it breaks your running form, and gotta train all that. So gotta train it up.
Yeah, staying straight up. And then also like that. And then also keeping your feet under you, not out in front of you.
So I want to have that race done.
The people who put it on, they did a good job in 2017. They were very low profile. They didn't really, come across to me as people who just wanted to come to Hawaii and use Hawaii and stuff. They seem to be very sincere. They do one other race, which is the Grand to Grand ultra run and stuff that they do in Arizona. So, it's great that they understand how we are here, that, hey, don't just come out and, hey, take our money, and then use Hawaii as part of your promotion. So hopefully they'll come back, and hopefully we'll get it. What year are we in? This is 2020, 2021. I don't know. Have they rescheduled yet for 2021?
Yes. And what we are really, really lucky with is Janet Miller, because Janet Miller is in charge. So she is the one pulling all the strings to get the proper connections. And so all the athletes, so it's an international race, right? We have the flags. I have the Danish flag I have to put on my.
Wait, you have a tattoo? You have a Danish tattoo? Can you show us?
No, I don't. But so it's an international race, and having somebody local as knowledgeable as Janet Miller really, really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, Janet is great. She does Xterra. She helps out with so many of the other races. Yeah, I think Grant and Janet are in Moab right now, aren't they?
Utah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another old stomping ground of mine back 40 years ago, before there was anybody really going to Moab and stuff. And I'm sure there's somebody else. I think Kevin Lannon is there too. I think there's a bunch of people from here.
Yep. They're having fun. Good for
Now,
them.
I know you have a background also in triathlons.
I have several backgrounds. Okay, let me just tell you some other backgrounds that are funny. I actually did World Cups in saber fencing for a couple of years back in France and Denmark.
Saber. So fencing.
Saber fencing.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And I did body fitness competitions for years back in France and the UK. So I did that as well. And then here, the triathlons, it's simply because I fell in love with the community. It's really that simple. I am a horrible swimmer.
I appreciate that too, because then I could actually see somebody when I got out of the water.
I'm not a very talented swimmer at all. I know how to bike because I grew up on a bike. So that's just a matter of training in a different way, but I'm very comfortable on a bike. But as a swimmer, yeah, I'm not very good. And there is the second problem, and that is I throw up. I get so sick in the waves. I get seasick, and it's not a pretty sight.
Well, I don't know if I should say anything, but I will anyway. The one Team Mango race, it was the mini monster where it was like, oh my gosh, Nina is actually chumming the water.
I had somebody following me. Are you okay? Like, blah. I threw up like 8 times. I think 8 times I threw up. But no, but it's cool because I can actually say that I completed it. I completed at half Ironman distance triathlon.
Yeah, but that's not an easy. I mean, it's not an easy race, really. I mean,
we had. It was crazy that
was the 50-mile-an-hour winds that year, wasn't it?
It was insane. We had everything else. The fishing tournaments got canceled because it was but he still put on the triathlon. I'm like, what? Yeah, no, it was very difficult. But again, I'm proud I did that one. I did not bag out, which is very interesting because, okay, swimming was horrible. I threw up nonstop. Okay, and the bike was 1 hour to do, how many? We did 1 hour to 56. Do 20.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
1 hour to do 26, 7 miles to the fire station, and 3 hours to get back because of the wind.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was that. And then when I started the run, I thought, okay, finally something I can actually do. But then I didn't realize, having thrown up so much, and you eventually throw up bile, right? Because you don't have anything in your stomach, which means it was burning. Every freaking step I took, it was burning in my chest. This is gonna be a tough one.
I love it. Yeah.
I didn't give up. I completed it in I think it took me 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever. It doesn't matter. I completed it.
There were a lot of people who quit off the bike because they got so exhausted on the bike.
It was insane.
They didn't finish the run. It was like they didn't realize that our buddies Cheryl and David Cobb were at the turnaround on Elite Drive with beer, I think.
Yeah. No, I know. It took me like I remember almost 3 hours to do the half marathon. I'm like, oh my God, longest thing I've ever done. it was like, however, there is another race that I love here on the island. First of all, Carl Gecko, I love that man. He is so supportive and so, I mean, he is the best one. We are so lucky to have him. The oldest race here we have on the island is Captain Cook Challenge, right? And even though the race itself is insane and probably not very safe when you think about the bike portion, but it is such a cool race, and it's so deeply rooted as part of the culture here on the island, and it's really an interesting.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that you'd done it and stuff, because it's been changed. We had to change it when we couldn't go to the monument one year, and there was the entry points were different for a couple of years and stuff there. But yeah, I'm just always at that turn by the post office where you guys come screaming down the hills on the bike.
I'm so happy I did that race. I would say I think we have some really cool races here on the island.
And you'll be happy to know, saying that you are a horrible swimmer, you're not that bad, that our good friend, Mr. Kelly, who has been known to run a few races, John Kelly, like the Barclays, John has the claim to fame, which he brags about. John, if you're listening, I hope you don't mind. He brags about that he has the slowest swim time for anybody who's done a full distance Ironman under 9 hours. I mean, he brags about it. Of course, his idea of a slow swim time for 2.4 miles is an hour and 14 minutes.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was the last underpants run we did, where you were telling me, hey, that's John Kelly, and I was so starstruck. And we were like the Tootsie girls, right? With the Tootsie girl bikinis on, with a big like Tootsie roll here and on the butt. And I came up to, and when you told me that was, oh, that's John Kelly, I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. So I got a Tootsie roll, and I tower over him. I'm 5'11", right? And I went up to him with a Tootsie roll, and I said,
Did you I just went and said, go over and say hi to him and stuff. Did you actually talk to him at all?
I did. I said, John Kelly, I am so, I can't even remember exactly what I said. I said, I'm so impressed with you. I was so impressed with you. Here's a Tootsie roll. And he started laughing. I was like, this is so awesome. I gave the man a Tootsie roll in a Tootsie roll outfit.
John is a super nice guy. They just had another baby. His wife just had another baby, and that makes John's got 4 now. He's got 4 kids. Goodness.
Oh, homeschooling. Yay.
Well, he's living in Great Britain now because his job, his company, which I think he started one of the people who started his company, they're actually over in England, in Great Britain. So he's been doing, you probably know about the fell races.
I do.
Can you maybe explain to some people about what that involves?
It's just running up and down hills. But you do have a whole bunch of fell races and in the UK, and you have beautiful nature. And I was actually planning on running a race in the UK this year. I was trying to fit it into my calendar. I have so many races I want to do and so many places I want to visit. And the races I do, I try to stay away from the big races. I really don't have any desire of running another 60,000 people marathon.
LA Marathon is great the year. I did it in 94 or something like that, but I would never do it again.
Yeah, it's just, but I love the trails. I really, really love the trails.
So tell me about, I know you and Ingrid did a race in China.
Yeah, it took me about a year, actually almost 2 years. 2 years before I was able to convince somebody to join me.
What better friend than you?
I was trying to find somebody who wanted to go with me to China and to do the Great Wall of China Marathon. And I was asking around, and I met Ingrid. I think she had only been here for like a week. And
but she didn't know any better.
I know. I was running on a Lee Drive, and there on a Lee Drive in the morning, I see somebody else run without headphones. So I run up to her and I like, hey, you want to talk story? And that's how her and we met, and we became friends. Then I told her about the Great Wall of China Marathon, and I said I really would like to do this race, and we did. This is actually from the Great Wall.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was such a beautiful run, and very, very, very well organized. I'm so surprised. They have such a amazing system. They are so used to working with so many people. I mean, China, but everything just went smoothly. It was such a great marathon.
And does it have any elevation and climbing involved, in case people need to know?
Yes, it has. What is it? 5,000. What is it? 5,000 something steps, right? That's a lot. Oh no! It's a lot.
Talk about CrossFit.
It's you definitely have to train for that one. And you have a half marathon, but the half marathon doesn't really go as much on the wall as the full marathon. And I mean, hello, if you're gonna travel to the end of the world and pay so much money and whatnot, I mean, get the full experience.
Yeah, and there's a tour company that kind of organizes the whole thing from outside China, and then you go there and do the race. I've known a couple of people that have done it and stuff.
Albatross company. It's actually a Danish company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they have different races all over the world. They actually just have a new one in Iceland. That could be fun to check out.
Have you ever do you have the desire to do a marathon on all 7 continents?
It will probably happen.
Well, Antarctica is the one you got to cover.
You know what? That is a very good point. I don't like being cold. Then I would have to wear too much clothes.
Well, actually, the time they do it, because I know that, what's his name? The race director for Boston Marathon, Dave McElvey. He's done it, where they have a whole tour thing where you pay a lot of money and you go 7 marathons, 7 days, where you actually fly. And
I know, I've seen that.
I myself don't have the money or the desire to be able to do something like that.
Don't think I want to do that either. I like going there. I like talking with people. I like getting to know the it just it seems to rush. Does that make sense? If you do 7, everybody has different goals. And I like to, even when I went to China, we actually stayed there for 2 weeks. I had some business connections, and we went to the Solar City, and I mean, it was a lot of different things as well.
That's very cool. Have you ever been to Africa?
Only to Gran Canaria, which really doesn't count because it's Spanish, but it is close to Africa. It's in, yeah,
because they have the Marathon de Sable, is in the desert.
You know what? I think I am okay. So I am committed to Mana Ultra, and what it is, 155-mile self-supported multi-stage race, which means that self-supported means that you carry everything but water. They give you water, but you have to start with like 20,000 at least. I'm a big person, at least 20,000 calories, and you have to carry all that. I don't know if I would want to do another self-supported race. I want to do this because it sort of fell in my lap because of Janet. And it's a very personal challenge, and we get to experience parts of this island that we normally are not allowed to go to, especially in military camp. And I mean, it's going to be a very big challenge, but also a very great experience. However, I really don't like being weighted down so much with the backpack. So going to do another thing like Marathon des Sables, which is another self-supported race in the desert with sand, doesn't really appeal to me that much.
What about what's the race in South Africa? Gosh, I actually did the virtual one. Shoot, I'm forgetting the name of it and stuff. It's a 51 miler, and one year they run it one way, the next year they run it the other way, kind of thing.
Oh, the Cabello Blanco one.
No. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. I'll look it up while I ask you another question. So nutrition. What do you use for nutrition? Do you have a sport drink that you like? Do you have gels that you like? Do you have food that you like?
Well, first of all, I'm a plant-based athlete. And the reason why I'm plant-based is simply because it makes me feel better. It's really that simple. I'm not gonna get all angry at you if you eat a steak next to me. But when we are talking about recovery and how your body responds to the different challenges you push at your body, and then you find out what works for you. And for me, it really, just like when I mentioned, when I did the 120 miles in Colorado, me having the ability of recover so fast between the runs, I really believe that is because of the plant-based diet that I follow. So it really makes a difference what you put in your mouth and what you eat.
And so people would normally ask, okay, you're plant-based, how do you get your protein?
Do I look protein deficient? No,
you don't look deficient in anything.
No. I am very strong built, and I am very, I'm not a small person at all. My dance jeans, but it's just, if you eat enough beans and vegetables and grains and seeds, you will get enough amino acids, and that is really what you need. You do not get it's faster for the body to assimilate the amino acids when they don't have to break it down. Anyway, then we go into science. But yeah, no, I eat enough, and I recover. I don't have much issue with inflammation and those kind of things. And next, in about 3 days, I will have run 2,000 miles this year, and me being able to run more than 2,000 miles every year, including all the other exercise I do, and not having been injured or having other issues, it's really, it really is important how you take care of yourself.
Do you drink? I can't remember. Do you drink coffee?
I don't like the taste of coffee. I'm sorry, I don't. Just like I don't drink beer. I don't like the taste of beer.
But so how do you, yeah, I totally agree with you. Amino acids are one of the keys and stuff. As far as your hydration, just water or any sport drink or anything?
A lot of water. I have actually those, if people don't know, it's the liquid
IV. Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good. And the amino acids, they do have caffeine in them. You know, the amino acids, whatever from Costco. So yeah.
Have you ever tried? It's called Marathon.
No, I have not, but I would like to try them.
Yeah, because it has the same kind of theory about it's kind of a gel liquid substance, so it's already broken down, so your amino acids will assimilate quicker, it says.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
of course, I do have to preface it with I am a Tailwind. I am sponsored by Tailwind, so I use Tailwind a whole bunch, but I use other stuff too.
And really I don't eat gels except when I race, you know, because when I race I do push myself a little bit faster, and then I don't want to chew. So but I do need the nutrition, so that's when I use gels. All my training runs, I have those like those small bags with like baby food with vegetables and some protein bars and whatnot.
Have you ever done a race? I know you've done Trans Rockies and stuff, but have you ever run a race like a 24 where you had to run for 24 hours where you ran during the night?
No.
Ooh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, you know, it depends on where it is and what it is. At this point, I don't have a desire of running 100-mile, but running 100-mile over 3 days, yeah, I'm in. You know, those kind of things, especially if you see different places, then yeah, okay, then I'm in. But running 100-mile just because, just like, and I really like, okay, so the Hurt Ohana, I've done several runs on Oahu. I've done the Manawili twice, and the Hurt Ohana they are the nicest people. Me personally, at this point, I have no desire of doing the Hurt 100.
Okay. Wouldn't you want to run on those trails at night?
Yeah, no, I have, because I did the triple T. So I know the trails, but running the same thing. Like,
well, what was the last race that we did together?
No, but it was different. I was curious about the winery thing, and I actually really like that loop. But we have another race coming up in November. We had trail maintenance last weekend, and we have trail maintenance again next month. And if you can, then go, because then you can see the trails, and it's actually really beautiful.
And it's for people who don't know, we did the what was it called, the Run for Wine down in Volcano at the Volcano Winery, where it was a 1-mile loop, and you could sign up for 5K, 3 hours or 6 hours. You did 6 hours, but you...
No, I stopped after 5 hours. I did 21 miles, I think, and I made the decision to stop after 5 hours simply because I could feel my knee, the patella tendon. It was hurting and it was getting hot. So that's why I stopped. But I actually really like that loop, and I will definitely do that race again next year because it was fun.
And to describe, I describe the loop to people as you take the hardest parts of the Ka'u half marathon and you condense them into 1 mile.
No, I don't agree with you.
Oh, for me, who ran 6 hours, not 5 hours, and only got 13.1 miles.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have the elevation as Ka'u.
True, very true. That had literally no elevation except for the spot where we had to use a rope to climb up.
Yeah. So no, but it was a very interesting trail, and it had all different trail aspects. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And shout out to Alex Luck and Billy Barnett, who organized the race. And Alex is actually Hapai, which I kind of knew beforehand before she announced it and everything, but she's on the way to giving birth. I think it's going to be next year in March, I think is what she said, because she has to change the race date of the race we were going to do in March because she didn't necessarily want to be giving birth and staging a race and stuff.
Yeah, so that was okay. The first race we had that Alex was able to direct was the Run Under the Moon or whatever the name was.
The Hilo to Waimea.
Yeah, that was actually a very, very nice race as well. It was beautiful with the moon. It was fun. That was a fun race as well. She was able to put that on, and that was in May? You did have the county, they came and checked and everything went fine and nobody got fined or sick or whatever after that. So that was a fun night race too. We'll see the third one, how that race is gonna be.
Yeah, the next one, it's an 8-mile loop, right? Where we're gonna have
yes.
I'm signed up for the 50K, so I have to run that 4 times. If you're signed up for the 100K, you have to run it 6 times.
Yeah, try that math again.
8 times 6 is 48. Oh, I guess it would be more than that then.
Yeah, it's 50K is 4 times, then 100K has to be 8 times, right?
8 times. Oh, yeah,
sorry.
That's true. You can see why I have to try to have a CPA do my.
No, but she actually she created a 16-miler as well, and I might want to just sign up for the 16-miler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It might take a significant amount of time to do it 4 times, so you might just want to do it 2 times. But yeah, she put on a 16-miler as well, so that's nice.
Yeah, and I will attest to the fact that our Under the Moon race and the wine race were both done very consciously and very responsibly. And we had social distancing and we had all the precautions that you need nowadays and everything. So there was actually no issues, no worries. And hopefully the next couple of races coming up will be the same way. Comrades is the race that I had forgotten about, the one that's in South Africa. Would you ever want to do Comrades?
I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know.
Go ahead and look it up. It's one of the longest running ultra races that's been around. It's been going on since the early 1900s, I do believe. But it's very famous in that they do it one year. It's like the Hilo to Waimea race is run next year. It will be run Waimea to Hilo in the opposite direction. Same thing with Comrades. They run it actually uphill with altitude gain one year, and the next year it's downhill with less altitude and everything. But like Camille Herron has won it.
Nice.
Courtney DeWalter, I think, has run it and stuff. And it's a very, very famous race. But yeah, put that on your list if you.
I have a big list of different runs all over this world that I want to do. And I was supposed to do a 100-mile race over 5 days in August this year. That got canceled.
Oh, where?
In Revelstoke, Canada. And that was it was 30,000 feet of climbing over 5 days and 100 miles in total. So that was another multi-stage event, but not self-supported. So you don't have to carry anything but your normal hydration vest, right? And I was so excited about that race. So that got canceled too. I got postponed. They postponed it to next year.
What's your strategy as far as, since you do a lot of altitude, what's your strategy as far as uphill and downhill? Do you try and hit it really hard uphill and then slower downhill?
It depends on where I'm at in the race. Okay, so I've done a mistake once at a race where I had a very strong, big hill in the beginning, and I wasn't as trained as I am now. So what happened was that I was trying, I didn't know nothing. I was just trying. But what happened was my heart rate got up to 200, 202 or whatever. It went so, and I started like getting black spots and whatever, and I was so pushed over the edge. So even though that was, I still had like 10 more miles of the race, I couldn't really recover from that because it was pushed too much. So now it's something you learn, right? So now when I know that there's a hill, okay, now I'm so much stronger now. So, but I'm more cautious with the hill. I can still run the hill or climb the hill, but I make sure that I'm not all out. So I recover. So I think having done so many hilly races, one thing that I noticed between people, okay, we all, doesn't matter how well trained you are, we all huff and puff on the way up a hill. However, the difference is when you arrive to the top, you can tell the people that are used to hills will recover so much faster than other people. So that is where the difference is in your training. If you're used to hills, you will like take 10 seconds or 5 seconds and recover and then keep going. While people that are not used to it will have to like recover and walk. So that's it's really something you just have to train for, and also know yourself, because if you know that you only have Garmin has this new feature called body battery.
Don't know about that.
But then you only have a certain charge of your body battery, and if you use it too much, it will be difficult for you to recover for the rest of the race. But if you know and you can stay conservative, and then you actually have more energy later and you can keep on pushing it throughout the race. Running downhill, however, that's another technique, and the best thing is keep running downhill. Eventually you're gonna get it. And you can hear people, you have certain people, you can hear them slamming the ground, and I'm thinking, oh no, those knees, poor knees. And then you have people, and when it gets very steep downhill, I mean, you kind of, and I'm 5'11", right? And you find out what is the best position of your body to run downhill without slamming the ground too hard. And honestly, the steeper it is, the more you squat down while still going fast. I mean, eventually you get it, you know, it's just a training thing. However, something that's interesting I've noticed when I run with people shorter than me, especially on the trail, often I take more steps than they do. And it's simply because I'm so used to the technicality of the trail. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm taller than you in theory, and I have long stride. Okay, fine, but if you will be so much nicer to your body and your knees if you learn how to take faster, quicker steps. So that's another thing, people. I mean, you get it eventually.
Yeah, I picked up that a few years ago from our good buddy John Kunitaki, who does a lot of the races, a lot of the marathon distance races and stuff. I would look at John, and John's a shorter guy, and he's just his feet are just, you know, his cadence is just really fast. And I think I asked John one time, I said, John, why don't you take longer strides? And he says, because I don't want to hurt my body.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. And if you're used to technical trail, you get used to it after, and it just comes from training. It's really that simple. You don't just learn it overnight. It comes from hours and hours on the trail.
TOF, time on feet.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap up. I don't want to keep you too long. So is there anything that you would want to say to people who are out there and maybe a little frustrated because the races are canceled and, you know, things are a little bit more restrictive, certainly than we're used to?
Well, keep running. I mean, we are so lucky, and here, especially here on the islands, we have not had a shutdown of our trails and mountains. We can keep on running, and know that it doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, I'm always supporting anybody, even big people. I'm like, good, yeah, come on, go. It doesn't matter. Running is hard. Running is hard, period. But however, it's just like you learn over the time to just deal with it. Because there's such a nice community with runners. And especially when you go into the distances where being the fastest doesn't matter anymore, then there is this huge. It's just nice being able to communicate with people that love running and not because they have to.
And tell us again when the trail cleanups are, because I think that's important. That's really giving back to the community and not just the running community.
The Coloco Trail, we are so fortunate having that trail here in North Kona. That trail maintenance first Saturday of every month from 9 to 11. And we need help. Everything grows like crazy here. So having somebody to help, it really, I mean, just come and help for an hour and we'll be happy. So that's every month, first Saturday of every month, 9 to 11, meeting on McCarthy Street. Alex has some trail maintenance. Talking about that race that Alex is planning in November, that same trail, she's gonna put on a 100-miler next year, and that was in March, around March, right?
Yeah.
And I saw a portion of that trail when we did the maintenance, and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be so awesome. It was very, very cool. And it was like in the trees. It was very, very cool. I'm like, okay, this is fun. It has to be fun. Otherwise, why don't we do it? Why do we do it?
Oh, that's perfect. I think maybe we can do a virtual fist bump here. We can get, and there we go. Perfect.
Woo!
Thank you, Nina. I'm going to pause the recording and stuff now, but we'll still be on. So aloha, mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you. See you on the trails.
Many mahalos. Thank you, Nina, for sharing part of your life. Oh my gosh, a nightclub owner, a figure model, fitness model, ultra runner, CPA, you name it, she can do it. Thank God for people like Nina as some of my friends and stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of a plug here for the Fireball Mile, which will be coming up next Saturday, not this Saturday. It'll be October 3rd, and we'll be running a Fireball Mile. This is to help celebrate Mike Rouse, my buddy Mike Rouse's birthday. I think he's turned 68 or some nonsense like that. So Mike will be running 68 miles. We only have to run 1 mile, but you do have to hydrate. I won't tell you exactly what you need to hydrate with, but every quarter mile you need to hydrate. So that's a plug for Fireball Mile coming up. But big thanks to Nina for being able to tell us a little bit about her, which many of us here on the Big Island, even though we've known her for 10 years or more, don't really know that much about people that we know here on the island. So again, if you can sign up and subscribe to our little show here, that would be awesome. If you can help us at Patreon at patreon.com/Hawaii Ultra, that would be great. And we will be having a link that will have you guys be able to donate to a charity of Nina's choice. I'll ask her about what she wants as far as the charity goes. But again, I hope everybody is out there staying safe, staying active, being responsible, and showing aloha.